When I last talked about buuuut way back in December, it was when I barely received the awesome pump action kit from Palm Topper Supply. Since then, however, I learned more about airtight seals, brass barreling, and overall just cosmetic work and working with epoxy putty and whatnot. So with that being said, almost 5 months after I debuted buuuut with the pump action kit, it's time to talk about, oh, how much has changed since then.
I tell you a story about me and you, out on the water, surrounded by the blue. They scream that only I'll be saved. They toss off the line, but I just let it float away. Yeah, I'll let it float away. I'll let it float away. I'll let it float away. Float away, float away. Yeah, I'll let it float away. I'll let it float away. I'll let it float away.
Alright, so for this video, we'll be starting from the back and working our way towards the front. Starting with the back, as you can see right here, there is the rear Picatinny that I have applied. I hope Lord Drac doesn't get mad with me or anyone at Foam Pro Shop, but yes, in order to get rear Picatinny for this red dot sight, which I got, I did take the flux barrel that I used to have when buuuut was still a top prime blaster and just completely sliced off the barrel part of it, making it as smooth as I possibly could in order to be able to slide it on the back of here. In order to secure it, as you could tell by the very messy putty work right here, I did in fact use epoxy putty. However, at the time I was new to it, I didn't know, how just volatile it is. The moment you just like squish it up a little and apply it onto something, it's just tough to remove. So yeah, in order to get this sealed on tight, I did put quite a number of it under to the point that you can see it splashing all back here. I also put around like a good dollop or a few of super glue in order to just further reinforce it onto the back. And as well as 4 screws, which the red dot gets in the way, but hopefully you can see that. There are 4 screws that also hold it down just to keep it stable and prevent it from wobbling too far left or too far right. On top of this rear jank Picatinny is in fact a red dot sight, which I did get online. It was like off of Amazon for like $35. It has a bunch of settings. I could change it to a red dot sight, hence the namesake, and also a green dot sight. My personal preference is running the green dot sight on the brightest settings. You are able to in fact take off these little nubs on the top and on the side and use like a flathead screwdriver or your own fingernail if you're brave enough in order to adjust it to the windage or just to the direction that you're aiming or the arch that you want to shoot at. Personally, with the power that I'm getting out of buuuut in this form, I don't see a need to angle the light downwards in order to aim at an angle upwards. Rather, I can just literally aim straight and within 100 feet, I'd be able to hit whatever I'm aiming at. So that's a look on the back side over here, just jank Picatinny as well as a sweet red dot sight to just dial in. Going towards more of, the front part, I guess, there's not much that happened in the sensor, but internally, there is in fact a tighter seal. I put 1 layer of Teflon tape around all the O-rings that go into this blaster, except, well, I hope it's not that hard to see, but except for the O-ring at the end of this breech rod right here that pushes the dart into the plastic breech, which would then fly through the brass breech. Reason being is that it's already pretty much dummy thick as is, so trying to put in a layer of Teflon tape under it and then getting it to seal, it was very tough to do. It would not seal, so you would actually lose air that way because of how much of a loose fit it became. So by keeping that one stock, while everyone else, from these double O-rings to the little spacer that I have in here to the plunger tube O-ring, all got their nice layer of Teflon tape underneath in order to seal this up really nice and tight. Going more towards the front, I have the 2 sling mounts that I got here off of Out of Darts. Normally, whenever I run this blaster as a part of a class, I would not have the red dot sight, or I would move the red dot sight further up here and move one of the sling points back here in order to make it more stable and more comfortable, because it's going to be uncomfortable slinging this guy around and just having it dial from the top like this. So ideally I'd want one in the back over here and one in the front up here with the red dot in the middle, or just absent. However, since I put the red dot on the back because I like having it as close to my face as possible for like the best chance of dialing in on what I'm aiming at. Most of them are just on here mainly as a storage thing more than actually slinging it on. But yeah, this is just more of a quality of life thing to just have it hooked onto my side whenever I'm not using it, when it comes to like dart sweeps or just waiting in the queue line for the next battle. Moving more towards the front, I did get a pump grip in the form of the Worker vertical grip, transparent blue because why not? This actually does serve well. However, as you go with a more stronger spring option, even with the stock spring, remember I have like little arms compared to this old busty chest of mine. But yeah, as I said, this does work well, especially with the buuuut spring. There's my deodorizer, the what's it called, the air freshener thing, I don't know. But yeah, this does work well with like weaker power springs, but as I learned with springers, the more powerful of a spring that you have applied into it, the more angled to the point of like pump action you would want your grip to be, or you know, a P90 style grip with like the thumb hole in the middle. So this guy works well, but it works well in priming when you hold it like this and put like your thumb, or your your index finger on the front side of it in order to make it a quick and easy prime. Whereas using it on the grip form like it is meant to becomes a bit more problematic, puts a bit more stress on your arm, my hands, and also the 3D printed front end of this grip right here of this pump action kit. So yeah, in order to remedy this though, I have in fact ordered a new Caliburn style pump action grip that is coming from Silver Fox Industries. So that'll be coming on its way, basically just putting it at an angled chocolate style grip, which should allow for the quickest and most efficient, and also me personally, user-friendly pump action design that I could ever achieve with Blue the Noob here. But for now though, this angled vertical forward grip does do the job as long as I put my index finger up front and just do it like this. I'm trying to do this in camera, so it's a lot more awkward like this, whereas if I were to do it extended, ooh, that pop. But yeah, so there you go. It's just a bit of an ergo choice, but I am going to switch this guy out for a Caliburn style pump action grip, because it seems a lot more comfortable and a lot more easier to be able to prime the spring like that than like this. Finally, onto the very front of the blaster, as I was saying, we have brass barrel, a full 9 inches of 17/32 brass barrel, sealed up and tightly in place with both electrical and Teflon tape. Protecting it is of course this Worker transparent orange barrel, mainly because, you know, brass is malleable. You could bend it, mold it however you like, which is both a good thing when it comes to cutting, or, you know, like burring it so that the dart could easily slide into it and out of it, but also a bad thing because I've seen people take their like foot-long brass barrel blaster out to the field only to have it drop and have the brass barrel just like bend or snap or twist itself in who knows what kind of like exorcist abomination. Which is why I have this clear orange barrel on top to be able to protect it as well as showcase it, and more importantly, you know, just put orange on it for safety reasons, especially since I play outdoors when it comes to Nerf wars. So yeah, rambling aside, that's about all that there has been changed, evolved, you know, whatchamacallit, with Blue the Noob here. Prior to the brass barrel and the dogs barking, prior to the brass barrel and this outer barrel working, I did replace the stock muzzle with an out of dart scar that was designed for the Nexus and Aeon Pro, and it does squeeze in nicely here even with this 3D printed muzzle extension piece in order for stability of this bottom gray kit. It did work well with that, but since the brass barrel did bring up the FPS to a whopping 175 to 185, And unfortunately, the fact that they're both the same diameter, unless if I were to shave this guy down or open up this guy, the scar just had to go. I still have it, I hold on to it, hoping to do something with it and not just have it go to waste and melt away in the drawer or out in the summer sun. So yeah, with that being said, that is about all there is to what has evolved with Blue the Noob. From a jank rear Picatinny to a nice scope, sling mounts, a tight, airtight seal, a pump grip, which will be replaced with another pump grip, and also just this brass barreling. I might do an internal look at this guy if you really need to see it, but overall though, the Aeon Pro's internals are pretty straightforward, just like the Dartone Pros Mark II and the Nexus Pro, which is honestly a big win in terms of like dart blasters in general. No more do you have to like figure out where all the thermistors and the locks are when it came to Nerf blasters with Dart Zone stuff, Adventure Force stuff. You could crack it open and it's easy to tell where everything goes and what everything does. So with that being said, I'm also giving you guys some chronograph numbers and maybe a range test with this guy. And I hope to see you guys then. Also have some gameplay footage at the end of this, so if you want to see more of that. Granted, the gameplay footage will be pre-brass barrel, so it's not going to be as accurate or as powerful as it is now, but still, something to look at to see how well this one did in its first battle since December. Alright, that's enough rambling for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, this overview of what's changed, what stayed, and what will be changing. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, and enjoy this extra footage. Yeah.
But we are going to have fire from the left, right? Fire from the left.
Hang on, let the guy pass.
Don't look back when I call you, but does that mean that you're not there?
Woo!
To when I saw you, beautiful time in a deadly year. You think I'm stupid, but I get it now. How long can we make this go? Just hurry up and spit it out, baby, 'cause I got to know. Don't break away, 'cause I want to stay, 'cause I want to stay out. Don't break away, 'cause I want to stay, 'cause I want to stay, 'cause I want to stay. Don't break away, 'cause I want to stay, 'cause I want to stay out. Don't break away, 'cause I want to stay, 'cause I want to stay. I let it consume me, I let it control me. I'll always be lonely, I'll never be fine. If life is a movie, it's always so boring. Where is the story? I hope it gets better with time. Yeah, I hope it gets better with time.
Dang it. Nice shot. Woo! Oh, you got me. I got you from across behind the tree, and then you got me from behind the bush. Oh, man. Now that right there is the way to go out. Alright, now it's time for the fun part. Clean up. Two shots to spare. Woo! No, we traded last minute, but he had more lives than me.